Good morning, everybody. You can hear those birds in the background. It's always nice when you wake up in the morning and the birds are very talkative. It's going to be a good day for sure. Starting to see the rings around the trees. There are birds everywhere. Looks like they're out of food. Maybe I need to go feed them. Temperature check this morning. There you go. About 26 degrees. 7:30. Get our day started. Give you guys a little view of what's going on here at the man camp. Not a lot. Ooh, got a pretty new service truck. That's kind of cool. Okay, it is April 6th. So almost a full week into April. As you can see, the river is still very frozen. And even though the river's frozen, it will not be long and it will be opening up. When the days finally start warming up, it is amazing how quickly everything changes. This time of year, for a few hours in the morning, the roads are solid and frozen and easy to get around on. But with these warm days, by the afternoon, it will be sloppy and muddy. So sometimes you want to get around early in the morning while it's still nice and firm. Okay, by this point they're making good progress on the bridge. They've drove at least one set of pilings. You can see one laying there on the ground behind the crane. And after driving that first stick into the ground, now they're welding the next section on. As you can see as we go by, that welder's hard at it, making sure those two pieces of pipe are stuck together real good. We'll stop back by later today and check it out. Lots of changes going on between springtime and the weather changing, and then also the roads changing too with new bridges. Very exciting. Okay, well, you guys have seen the drive-in enough times in the last few months. I think we'll just skip right ahead to the farm. How's that sound? And just like that, we're out at the farm on a beautiful sunny day. For having a stretch of cool weather, the snow's actually going away pretty fast, and things are drying up decently, which is nice. Oh, I don't know if you saw him. Oop. There's a rabbit that's still white. That little guy better hurry up and turn brown. As summer rapidly approaches and the snow's quickly melting, you soon realize it won't be long before we're hooking the disc back up to the tractor to start working the fields and try to be as ready as possible for that small window of opportunity to plant crops. And in our area, that window's only several weeks. So we're trying to find things to do to keep us busy while we anxiously await the ground to thaw. Even though the Dozer and the skid steer can travel through the field without any trouble, it's always a good idea to keep a road plowed in case you need to get a pickup or other piece of equipment over to that side. If you have reason to get something with wheels over to that side of the farm, it's hard to do after the Dozer's broken. Well, we went around the perimeter of one of the lots. It was such a pretty, beautiful, warm day. After lunchtime, me and Dave decided to go check out one of the other parcels that we need to clear. And it wasn't very far from where we were working. So we took the opportunity to go around the outside edge of the 21-acre parcel and start to get a feel for what the terrain was like and what kind of challenges awaited us. And we couldn't have asked for a better day to go do it. Here we are coming down a section line. The large farm parcels are to the right, just kind of past that spruce tree. And we're kind of right on the line. Our farms are to the right, neighboring farms are to the left. And you can see where the neighbors have been starting to clear their lot. Looking good. Something about plowing snow with a dozer that's satisfying. Well, fuel in the skid steer, the dozer. We didn't break anything. Okay, well now it's about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And as you can see, the day's warmed up and those nice frozen roads have turned into puddles and sloppy. This will be the cycle for several weeks now, until eventually it stops freezing at night. And then anybody that lives where there's breakup, it'll be a sloppy mess for several weeks until it dries out. We're relatively fortunate in the interior. The fact we don't get a lot of snow, it tends to be dry in the spring with low humidity and fairly warm temperatures. Breakup does go relatively fast and things dry out really quickly. But every puddle I splash through with the truck gets me excited about spring coming.
Hi, Rosie. Hi, Bubbo. Does he dog? And George, myself, and Tarn. We got a truckload tonight. George is trying to get the four-wheeler started where he can take it back to the house from the farm. The collies, Belle, Dusty. Well, tires need air. The wind's picking up a little. Bell in the back of the truck. Rosie. Dusty. George got the four-wheeler started. Turn. Letting it charge up a little bit.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pretty Sunday morning. A little frosty. So it frosted last night. About 28 degrees. Birds are singing. Let's get out to the farm. Okay, thought I'd stop here at the bridge for a minute. Let you guys see what's going on. So, as you can see, here's the pilings. Point the right way. The pilings. So they've drove a stick in the ground, and then they've welded joints onto them, and then they will drive the next piece into the ground. So they get them lined up. Pretty impressive. Maybe they'll be driving when we come by. So they're going to drive these in the ground as far as it takes to make them solid and stable. Could be 60 feet, 80 feet, 100 feet. It's whatever that distance needs to be. And what you're seeing over there on the bank is the template. That's what they start the pipes in. That way they get them straight. And again, as you can see, this is that creek that just doesn't ever freeze. I mean, all winter it stayed open. And it won't be long, these little bridges will get retired. Okay, get on down the road. We'll see if the old girl will start today. It's pretty cold this morning. Okay, as the dozer warms up, I thought I'd give you guys an update. So if you look, it'll be, I guess, over my shoulder. The neighbors have been getting some clearing done. The last week or so, there's been a company that came in to mulch their farm, which is really nice. It's good to see other progress out here. Going to be a little bit of a shorter day for me. We've got to hook up to the trailer and head into Anchorage, pick up some fertilizer and seed and a new mulch layer we got. So it'll be kind of a little bit of a drive this afternoon, but that's okay. And yeah, we're going to go out and work for a while this morning, check on Dave, see how he's doing. I hear him over beeping, and so he's piling brush and logs. So let's get going. So like with everything you do, it's good to have different tools in your toolbox to get the job done. This particular section of land has two different types of terrain. Part of it was very small trees with hardly anything large to speak of. And the other part of it was really large timber and lots of it that had fallen over in the fire. With the snow starting to melt away, we were able to put the grapple on the skid steer and spend time stacking up the larger logs. There are two advantages to doing it this way. One, it'll be less wood debris to deal with. And the second, it uses a lot less fuel. And yes, even after we pick up all these logs, we will need to run the mulcher over the area to get the brush and anything sticking up. And when the snow melts, there'll be a few logs that we missed. And it really comes down to we just have spring fever and are looking for something to do. We figured we might as well be productive while we're waiting for the ground to thaw. May not show up in the video real well, but you can see where they're clearing on the other side of the lake there. It's very nice. Good to see progress. And this is that last corner of the two large parcels to clear. In another 2 or 3 weeks, it'll be exactly 12 months since we started clearing out here at the farm. There is still a lot of work to make them productive fields, but it is a big hurdle getting the trees out of the way. Okay, now a little sped up video of using the dozer. It is definitely a much more old school way of clearing land, but it still comes back to we have the dozer, and the trees need to get moved. And believe it or not, it uses about a quarter of the fuel that the skid steer does. Okay, taking a little trip up the property line. So this is looking over on the area that the neighbors have been clearing. It's definitely looking good. They've got the majority of their trees mulched up and the brush knocked down. Like with us, now they have the ability to see the landscape, the terrain, and the features of their farm. So even though most all of us had a pretty good idea what we wanted to do and where we wanted to do it, getting the brush and timber off really lets you envision what you're going to plant and where you're going to plant it. And it is very exciting to have other farmers in the area that are as passionate about agriculture as we are. And that passion and determination and a whole lot of hard work. This area will be growing food and livestock and helping to feed the state in no time. Okay, sprung a leak right in here. It's actually shooting out. Old dozers, old hoses, leaks are a thing. So, get this clamp loose, have to snake the hose out And it does hook up there. Won't be too bad. We'll get in and get her done. One of the drawbacks to old equipment is sometimes they're missing things. In this case, the Dozer's missing side covers on the engine and a fair number of the covers and protectors for the hydraulic lines. Now in this case, the hydraulic line just failed because it was old, I'm pretty sure. But we have had our fair share of problems with broken fittings and broken lines just simply because there's not enough protection. But even if you have total armor on everything, the sticks still find their way in and manage to poke things, puncture things, bend things, and break things. Okay, and just like that, the clamp is off. It held the hoses going through the frame. Pretty simple. This really isn't too bad of a project. Now, if it was 40 or 50 below, this wouldn't be anywhere near as fun. Okay, next, there's a large hose clamp that's holding the hoses up to the bottom of the ram. I'm pretty sure somebody added this hose clamp to hold the hoses up. There was probably something much more elaborate provided by John Deere when they built the Dozer. And I have to keep reminding myself that this Dozer's almost as old as I am. But it's still getting the job done, and there are certain things that a Dozer is best for. Okay, got that clamp loose. Now it's time to unscrew the hose from the ram. There's no swivel at this point. It'd definitely be a lot easier to get off if there was a swivel at the ram, but at the same time, swivels tend to be fairly weak, and we'd constantly be breaking it off. And we've tried to build a couple of protectors for these hoses on these rams, and they hold up for a little while, and then you end up losing them or ripping them off. So the biggest secret is just be careful. I'm pretty sure these hoses are not original to the Dozer, but they definitely have been on there a long time. So, like I mentioned before, broken hoses and leaks are something that just happens, especially with old equipment. And as you notice, you'll see me wearing some disposable rubber gloves. They're handy to have around, that way when you get all oily and dirty, you can just take them off. Especially in the winter when we don't have any running water out here at the farm. Makes keeping your hands clean that much easier. Okay, put down some paper towels to try to catch as much of the hydraulic oil as we can. Then it's time to snake that hose out of there. And of course, since it'll be a week before I put it back in, try to remember where it all goes. But the new hoses will be a lot more flexible, and that'll be great. Okay, got the lines drained. I've been sitting here a little while. And the one with the wrap on it was the one that got the hole in it. Then while I was doing that one, I noticed that this one had wore really bad from rubbing. It was kind of squished. So, they're in the same spot. Figure might as well just change them both. Okay, that's going to wrap up this video. I got the hoses off that need to go to town with us, so we can get new ones made for that. Dave is back over on the other side of the hill, stacking logs. He's got a couple of days there, at least, to get that section all squared away. And with that, we are virtually done with the two large parcels. There's a little bit alongside a road that when they finally get the road put in, we can clean that up and figure out where the road stops and where the field will start. And there's going to be some other touch-ups throughout the summer as we work on disking the fields up. But for the most part, we are completed with any kind of trees or serious mulching on this particular lot. A few more days over on the other side of the hill and we'll be done. Like we talked about, the neighbors are getting some work done on their farm, which is really nice. They border us with two of their lots. The crew that's doing the clearing over there is doing a good job and very professional. Looks like they're serious in getting it handled. So, which is nice. Nice to see some progress. So it's been about a year since people have had the ability to work the land, and it takes a little time to get rolling and get things figured out and come up with a plan. and go forward. So there are a couple farms out here that are moving forward with some clearing, which is a really good thing. The snow's starting to go pretty fast. It started off cool this morning, but now the sun's out and it's actually fixing to be too warm for the shirt and the hat I have on. So with that, we're going to get out of here, leave Dave to it. We sure appreciate everybody watching the videos. Subscribe if you like what you see. It definitely does help. It helps with the algorithm. It helps make sure the videos get out so more and more people can see them, which is very nice. That's kind of the whole idea here, is to get exposure to as many people as possible to see what actually happens in the interior of Alaska with farming. And on behalf of everybody out here at the farm, hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.